Welcome to Hollywood First Look Features. I'm your host, Twee Fan. Hollywood is gearing up for award season, and the Golden Globes just brought home a whole lot of happy people, and we've got more on that coming up. But first, we'll also talk to the cast and crew of 1917, which won a Best Picture Golden Globe, including director Sam Mendes and George McKay. Then we'll go to the screening of Just Mercy with Rick Hong, which Barack Obama listed as one of his favorite movies of the year. All that and so much more. Let's get started. Nora Lum, better known as Awkwafina, made history at the Golden Globes as the first actress of Asian descent to win a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Comedy. Lum won for her portrayal of Billy Wong in The Farewell. The actress, who rose to fame in 2018 after she starred in the blockbuster hit Crazy Rich Asians, dedicated the award to her father, Wally, grandmother, and late mother. She is also nominated for the Rising Star Award at the BAFTAs. It was also a big night for Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, which made history as the first South Korean film to win a Golden Globe. The dark comedy thriller received the award for Best Foreign Language Film. The movie is also the first Korean film to win the coveted Palme d'Or, the highest prize at the Cannes Film Festival, and has since received multiple accolades and over $105 million at the global box office. Additionally, Parasite is nominated for Best Cast in the upcoming Screen Actors Guild Awards. Can't wait to see what other awards come up. As the fires rage in Australia, stars from around the world are pitching in to help. Korean-American rapper Jay Park made a sizable donation of $30,000 to the New South Wales Rural Fire Service. Park, who is set to visit New Zealand and Australia for his Sexy Forever World Tour next week, also noted that he will instruct his label AOMG to donate as well. Australian actor Chris Hemsworth has pledged $1 million, and Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman have donated $500,000, while Pink has done the same. To date, the flames have destroyed millions of acres of land in the country, killing nearly 500 million animals and displacing thousands of people. Here's hoping the people and animals of Australia get all the help they can get. When the 92nd Annual Academy Awards airs this year, it will be missing one thing: a host. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, which holds the annual award ceremony every year, confirmed this news on Twitter. This isn't the first time the show has gone on without a host, however. In 2019, the award ceremony went hostless after Kevin Hart dropped out of hosting duties amid the fallout from resurfaced past homophobic remarks he made on Twitter. The 92nd Academy Awards will air live February 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. Intrigo: Death of an Author is definitely intriguing, all right. It stars Oscar winner Ben Kingsley and Gemma Chan in this murder mystery suspense drama. Check it out and see if you can find the plot twist.
A lighthouse, it's quite something.
I prefer the solitude. Some say I hate people, and that's bloody true. My publisher forwarded your letter.
The book I'm writing, it's actually about my wife.
You're not going to read the whole book.
Just bits and pieces.
David, I've met someone else, and I'm going to leave you.
So let me get this straight. Your wife went missing the day before yesterday.
That's correct. I think something has happened to her.
There must be a reason why your wife simply up and left.
What are you implying?
Must have haunted you. I can only imagine. How many nights you woke up in a cold sweat?
Surveillance or missing?
Missing.
When did you see her last?
3 years ago.
Are you sure you want to find her? Most people would have moved on.
You've translated my husband's books?
He's regarded as one of the great modern authors.
German Rain's widow was arrested today, suspected of having murdered her husband.
Interesting parallel.
You implying I had something to do with Eva's disappearance?
So you found the letters where the hidden code in the manuscript said it would be.
It says they planned to kill German Rain.
Suspicion has to grow slowly.
I did not kill my husband.
You're a smile devil.
What do you think about the possible sentence? Because of you might end up behind.
Either write your own script, or you live according to someone else's.
If your life is dark and then a door suddenly opens, then you have to move on.
So, this is the end of your story.
It's actually the beginning.
You know him most notably as Iron Man, but in Dolittle, Robert Downey Jr. is all about animals. After shuttering himself inside Dolittle Manor after the death of his wife, he gets the call of a lifetime to help find a cure for the Queen and goes on an epic adventure. Check it out.
You got the memo, right? Today we're just gonna mix things up and reenact some classics.
Okay.
You cool with that, right?
Talent dab dab movie Jaws.
We're gonna need a bigger shark.
I think you meant to say boat.
Of course.
Check. Yeah, okay.
We're gonna need a bigger shark boat.
Great. Thanks for coming.
The Fast and the Furious.
Oh, are we rolling? Great. I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
We need her. And a medic.
Despicable Me.
It's so fluffy, I'm going to die.
I'm gonna die. I can't breathe.
Scarface.
Say hello to my little friend.
Hello.
Okay, here's my feedback. Maybe a little more threatening.
I'm not threatening my friend.
I mean, he's got a big gun, and it's the climax of the movie. He's nuts.
Oh, I got it.
Bring it.
Say hello to my little friend.
Notting Hill.
I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her.
Okay, I'm under the impression Plimpton got the wrong pages. Yeah?
Embarrassing.
Meet the Parents.
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Okay. Yes.
Jurassic Park.
Do I have the role?
Well, actually, you see, the way this works is...
Put me in the movie or it's Downey for dessert.
Gotcha. He's perfect.
Me?
Okay, stop.
The best.
This is a family movie.
This Is Us fans, listen up. The series is back after a mid-season hiatus, and it's sure to delve deeper into the characters and what's happening between the show stars, including Mandy Moore, Chrissy Metz, and Justin Hartley. See why the series pulls at America's heartstrings and why it hits close to home.
Let's talk about the season premiere, This Is Us, because that was one of my favorite things to follow on social media. People turned on and they see these people and they have no idea who they are.
People had a strong reaction to the way we started season 4. You don't trust us yet? We got you.
It's so strange, isn't it? How just like that, a complete stranger can become such a big part of your story.
Season 4, continues to be the dreamiest job in all the land.
Am I all lined up?
You're perfect.
I'll tell you, my Instagram went from 154 followers to 20,000 plus. That was unbelievable.
By the time I'm 40, I'm gonna have a wife, I'm gonna have a kid, the whole shebang.
You should probably date somebody first.
Why you always gotta be a buzzkill?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin made this declaration to Randall. It takes 9 months to incubate the baby, so he's gotta get going.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's amazing that people get together during the holidays and watch our show. People are invested, and you can't help but not be.
Here is 5 pounds of Thanksgiving shrimp. It's for Jack.
I'm always like, oh, we're gone for so long, I hope they remember to turn us back on if they want us. We're never really too far away.
Background. Action.
To have the Pearsons a part of anyone's holiday family traditions is such an honor. I can't imagine anything greater than that, honestly.
Happy to be together wherever we come from, to be in the same city, but they sit down and they watch the show together because of This Is Us.
Adapted from the beloved literary classic, The Call of the Wild is coming to the big screen and stars one of Hollywood's biggest stars, Harrison Ford. Join him as they bring to life the story of Buck, a big-hearted dog whose blissful domestic life is turned upside down when he is suddenly uprooted from his California home into the exotic wilds of the Alaskan Yukon during the gold rush of the 1890s. Here's the first look.
The Yukon is a dangerous place. You never know what's coming. I came up here because I didn't want to be around anyone. And then I met Buck. He was a dog like no other. He'd been spoiled.
Out! Come on, Buck!
And he'd suffered.
Come on!
But he could not be broken. I
don't know where you came from, but I know where you are now. Welcome to the last place on the earth.
I should let him have a minute. Doesn't look like he's ever seen snow before. How do you feel about an adventure beyond all maps? We could go, you and I, where no one's ever been before. See what's out there.
I'm glad you're enjoying this.
I never saw him believe in anything as much as he believes in you.
What do you say, Buck? Adventure of a lifetime. You've been sleeping for 2 days in my bed.
Nó trôi dạt vào cuộc sống của chúng ta, phơi nhiễm chúng ta với rủi ro. Khói thuốc có vẻ vô hại, nhưng nó rất độc hại và không ai được an toàn cả. Đã đến lúc phải ngăn chặn mọi loại khói thuốc do người khác hút.
"1917" took home a Best Picture prize at the Golden Globes and has been one of the highest reviewed films of the year, and for good reason. With a $90 million production budget, 1917 is gearing up to not only take home more awards, but to bank at the box office. Join us as we talk to director Sam Mendes and his team on the intricacies of bringing the story to life.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir. Is he alive?
And with your help, I'd like to keep it that way. But they're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you don't, we will lose 1,600 men. Your brother among them.
My personal connection is that my grandfather told me the stories when I was a child. And he fought in the war between 1916 and 1918, and he was 17. And they were shocking stories. They were very particularly notable for not being about heroism and bravery, but being more about how lucky he was to be alive, and luck and chance and coincidence.
Yeah, so Sam called me up one day and he said, I have this idea, I want to co-write it with you. It's set in the First World War, are you free? And obviously Sam Mendes, so you're free. And he has told me a little bit about his grandfather. He said he has this one image, it's a messenger carrying a letter through no man's land, and that was the kernel of the whole idea. And we discussed it a little bit further. I kind of probed a bit more and found out how personal it was, and then he said, okay, I'll meet you Tuesday. Oh, by the way, it's all going to be one shot. So I knew what I was getting into. I knew it was going to be an incredibly personal and relevant story for Sam, and that I knew that it was going to be really, really tricky to pull off as a challenge. And so when we sat down together, really what we spoke about was the journey these two boys could take, the Hindenburg Retreat, the sort of the historical framework of it, and then who the characters would be, who would take us on this journey, who would lead us, the audience, through it.
Yeah, well, I play the character of Lance Corporal Blake, who is a much younger soldier compared to Schofield. He hasn't been there very long, and he hasn't seen the realities of war as though Schofield has. But he's a good soldier, he's good with maps and navigation, and they both get sent on a seemingly impossible mission to deliver a message.
Yeah, as Dean says, I play Lance Corporal Schofield, who has been there a wee while longer. He's a little bit older, but he deals with things differently. I think that's where they differ, and where also they learn to kind of come together. Is that I think Schofield's kind of fears that if he lets go of holding on to himself, then he's going to unravel completely, and he won't be able to be in the place that he is. So his way of dealing with it is to kind of keep it all inside.
I wanted two young actors who the audience didn't have any preferably didn't have much prior relationship with. I wanted to feel they were two amongst 2 million, and in a funny way I wanted you to feel at the beginning of the movie they weren't particularly special, they were just two average soldiers, and for us to realise or begin to understand why they were special, if they were, during the course of the film. George Mackay is very quite old-fashioned, very internal, but very feels everything very deeply as Schofield, and slightly different class to Blake, who is chattier and younger and more vulnerable, less experienced in war, but on the surface a much more readable, warmer personality. And it's a combination of the two, the sort of, salt and pepper of the two that I wanted this unlikely friendship between two people who in civilian life probably wouldn't have spent any time together. I always had the joke that for me, Schofield in the pub would be sitting by the fire with a book, and his glass of wine, with his dog at his feet, and that Blake would be the other end of the pub, on his fourth pint with his mates.
It was a privilege. It was absolutely wonderful. Like Sam was amazing, and he's led us through this kind of epic experience. And he's masterful. His understanding of storytelling and how and when you give information to kind of create a reaction, be it as actors or be it in the final piece of the film, is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Genius. Filmed this film using a method, one continuous take, and it really does allow a whole nother layer to the storytelling aspect. It adds a whole nother layer of being immersed in the story as an audience member. And as an actor, again, you're immersed in the story. We did takes lasting up to 9 minutes long sometimes, and as an actor, you can just become completely lost in the story and the character, and it's honestly a dream come true.
We've created an experience. We've created something that I think is designed to be seen on a big screen, and I hope people go and see it on a big screen. We've used all the tools available to you as a contemporary filmmaker to make it feel like something experiential, something immersive, and I don't just mean image, I mean sound and music and everything else. And you don't ever want to be able to sum up your movie in a single phrase, otherwise you'd write, it's not a delivery of a message as a film, or it's not a history lesson, it's not you don't need to know anything about the First World War to enter this world and be taken on this ride. And I think perhaps if you come out feeling like you understand a little bit more about what these men went through, about what happens to human beings in war when they're stripped to their essence and stripped of social class and all the things that the world gives them, they just right down to the bare bones of what it means to be a brother or a friend or want to go home. Hopefully it makes people think about those things as a universal truth rather than just, war.
There's only one way this war ends. Last man standing.
What the hell are you doing, Lance Corporal? No! No! No!
If you fail, it will be a massacre. Good luck.
Just Mercy is making its debut across the U.S., and it's one of the most important films of the year since it's based on a true story about the life and work of Bryan Stevenson, the Equal Justice Initiative, and innocent men and women sitting on death row. Join Rick Hong as he goes to the premiere and why this movie is a must-see.
Rick Hong here for Hollywood First Look Features. We are at the premiere for Just Mercy. The movie stars Michael B. Jordan, Brie Larson, and Jamie Foxx. Let's take a first look.
It is ordered, adjudged, and decreed that Walter McMillan is to face death by electrocution.
This is my dad, sir.
Sit down, young man.
John, I want you to sit down now. He ain't do nothing wrong.
Please, Judge, hold on one second.
I won't say it again. Sit down.
Not if you gonna kill my dad for no reason. You killing my family, sir,
They convicted an innocent man. I was always taught to fight for the people who need the help the most.
You don't know what it is down here. They ain't got to have no evidence.
How many of you all were with Walter that morning?
You ain't quitting, is you?
No, sir.
We all with you.
I saw this back in October. So I was wondering, have you been telling people, because this one goes wide on Friday, so I was wondering if you've been telling everybody, take a box of Kleenex.
I actually have. I say, pack your tissues, but also I think the power of Bryan Stevenson's work, his story, his life, is that as heavy as the material is, as heavy as the story is, it's also encouraging, it's also empowering, it's also enlightening, and you walk away hopeful. So you're gonna feel a lot of emotions, but I hope you will also feel the responsibility that you now have to make some decisions about how we move forward.
It was about capturing the essence of him, and I heard him tell his story so many times, and the one thing that hit me the most, because if you don't have one-on-one with a person, you got to start looking for traits that you can connect with, and how he spoke about his mother when he lost his mother while he was incarcerated, and to hear a man talk about how much he loved his mom the same way that I do, that's really what I held on, and I knew what type of person it takes to be like that, to be high-spirited in low situations. That told me his character, and I knew I could connect with it because I connected with him on so many other levels. Plus, he's a Yankees fan and he hates the Boston Red Sox, and I'm a Laker fan and I hate the Boston Celtics. So I was like, we're brothers of a different spirit.
Kobe's here, so.
Exactly, we're right here.
So is it more intimidating playing somebody like Anthony or playing your dad?
My dad. My dad for sure, because you got the whole family like, all right. It's a different type of pressure, but I'm thankful that I got my most important, to me at least, and my heaviest role out the gate first. There's nothing that will ever be able to take that movie away from me or my family. And that's the dream role, knock the dream role out first. But when you get to be a part of something like this, it's an honor.
I've always believed that you have to be hopeful, you have to believe things you haven't seen. I grew up in segregation. I started my education in a colored school. They didn't let black kids go to the public schools when I was a little boy. But lawyers came in and made them open up those schools. And, I went to Harvard Law School. I never met a lawyer until I got to Harvard. And that's kind of just believing things you haven't seen. When we started this project in Alabama, I had no idea that we would ever get anybody believed, but I had that hope. And I think that's what I want people to take from this film, is that we should be hoping, we should be working, we should be believing and demanding a system that's more fair, more equitable, more just. And we shouldn't tolerate these conditions, these circumstances. And if people start thinking and talking that way, I think we can make real progress.
Had an amazing cast. There's talented man to my right. Jamie Foxx is incredible. We have Brie Larson, Rob Morgan, O'Shea Jackson, Karen Kendrick. We had an incredible cast. We were really lucky to have such amazing actors being able to portray these roles and really care about it beyond the work. Once we wrap, we're still on the road doing press. They're really passionate about these issues. It's a really important movie, so it goes beyond set for us. And I think that was really important when we put this team together.
I read that you recruited Jamie Foxx for this particular role.
That's a big brother, man. I've been a fan of his for a really, really long time. He's known me since I was about 18. Picking up the phone and calling him. You know what I'm saying? He's always giving me advice, always kind of mentored me in a way. So, I called him up, and this is something that I I want people to remember how great he was. You know, I think this is a movie that gave him the right tools, the right vehicle for him to show that, and I think he killed it.
I was just wondering, when you were researching, what was your best resource for this? Because I know Walter McMillan wasn't alive because he died in 2013. So I don't know if you use Bryan Stevenson as the guy that to guide you playing him.
Most definitely talk to Bryan Stevenson. I wanted him to tell me what Walter was like on death row. I've visited death row before. It's a different place. And when you visit death row, the worst thing you can give an inmate is hope. So I said, how did he deal with it? He says, to be honest with you, Walter gave other inmates hope, which is good and bad. It's for a black man to take that on and to just, in a sense, think that maybe this is what's supposed to happen to him because of who he is. Was sad and at the same time enlightening when it comes to putting the character together. And then once I had that, and aesthetically we look alike. We have the same cheekbones, the same diamond head, and everything like that. But he gave the other inmates hope, which is sort of a little bit of my DNA about having that sort of internal joy. And then, my father, who had been taken away from me for $25 worth of illegal substance for 7 years. I could draw on that. This man taught me how to play tennis. Black man teaching this young black kid how to play tennis. So I was growing up like Aileen Nastasi, Vitas Gerulaitis, Bjorn Borg, John McEnroe, Jimmy Connors, Yannick Noah. You know what I mean? Were my heroes. But to have him taken away, and then finally I wrote him a letter because I don't like visiting jail. I said, you get out, I'll save your life. He's been living with me for 20 years. We got a chance to go to the U.S. Open now, see Venus play, you know what I'm saying? So I used that DNA for what Walter McMillan was going through, a person who didn't think his life was going to change, and then in walks Michael B. Jordan, who's depicting Bryan Stevenson, and something wonderful happened.
What about the Oscar possibility of this role?
Oh, listen, anything that is bestowed upon this is not individual. It's for this whole, it's for Michael, it's for Destin, it's for Bryan Stevenson, it's for everybody out there who's ever been disenfranchised, because I think we share it, because I want everybody to go see the movie.
The movie's in theaters everywhere, January 10th. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Rick Hahn.
We with you. We all with you.
Your life is still meaningful, and I'm gonna do everything possible to keep them from taking it.
Award season is officially in full swing. Tune in next week and watch our coverage of the Hollywood Critics Association 3rd Annual Award Ceremony as they celebrate the end of a decade in cinema, celebrating some of the best actors, actresses, filmmakers, and films of the decade. That's going to do it for us here on Hollywood First Look Features, but first, I'm going to leave you with a look into Disney Pixar's upcoming animated film Soul, which will come out this summer. Thanks for watching. I'm Twee Fan. Have a great weekend.
What would you want to be known for on Earth? We only have a short time on this planet. You want to become the person that you were born to be? Don't waste your time on all the junk of life. What am I doing? Spend your precious hours doing what will bring out the real you. The brilliant, passionate you that's ready to contribute something meaningful into this world. I got the gig. I really need a haircut today, man. Can you fit me in? Whoa, sorry. What the? Hello? So what do you want to be remembered for?
Probably for doing this funny cowboy dance.
Great.
Nó trôi dạt vào cuộc sống của chúng ta, phơi nhiễm chúng ta với rủi ro. Khói thuốc có vẻ vô hại, nhưng nó rất độc hại và không ai được an toàn cả. Đã đến lúc phải ngăn chặn mọi loại khói thuốc do người khác hút.